Why don't we move on to the Democrats here and to talk about their reaction?
Yeah, so completely pathetic in many regards, especially from the leadership. Not going to say there haven't been any good reactions, and I think the base so far has really showed up in a positive way. But even the people who, like I'm about to show you Adam Schiff, who want to oppose this war because they don't like Trump, they frame it in all this like procedural garbage. Like what I'm really outraged about is you didn't give me the proper briefing before this happened. Or this is like, that's the worst one. The next level up is the war powers resolution, which by the way is important. It's important to have that vote and get everybody on the record. But guys, just say you're against war. It's really not that freaking hard. Here in any case is Adam Schiff doing his whole like, they didn't give me the briefing, and that's what I'm really upset about. Let's take a listen.
The failure to brief Democratic lawmakers, the making this just another partisan exercise by the administration when it comes to something as serious as the decision to potentially engage in warfare with another nation, it means that you're not going to have the whole country bought into this, which is a real problem. If everything goes well, then maybe it works out fine in the sense of not being an issue that tears apart the American people. But if things don't go well, if Iran retaliates, if we get in a escalating war with Iran, and you don't have the country bought in because the president didn't seek the approval of Congress, because he didn't make the case to the American people, because he didn't even inform one of the parties in Congress, that's when you have a real problem engaging in warfare on a partisan basis. So a lot of risks here for the country, which, is the reason why you come to Congress in the first place. It's the reason why our Constitution says Congress has the power to declare war, not the president.
And that's the scandal. He didn't brief me.
He didn't brief you. And that man is a senator now, by the way, which is just like disturbing. Andrew Cuomo also out with a sad statement about the process here and how bad the process was. We could put this up on the screen, D2. Going into Election Day, Iran cannot have nuclear capability. That's number one. So he's validating the frame right out of the gates. And many of these, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, do a similar thing. Iran can't have nuclear capability. That's number one. I don't support the way he did it. Believe he should have consulted Congress. This is Trump saying, I don't have to follow the rules. So he didn't follow the rules. But, he supports, like, Iran can't have a nuclear. So he completely validates the framing. And then his only quibble is like he didn't quite go about it in the right procedural process way. Just completely ridiculous. Meanwhile, if you want to look for a study in contrast and someone who actually is getting it right, as he did during the Iraq War, one of the few, Bernie Sanders was actually doing one of his rallies on the Fight Oligarchy tour in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he received the news live while he's up there speaking to the crowd. I think he was about to wrap his speech, and you hear a woman yell out from the crowd, "Trump just bombed Iran," and then Faz Shakir, his aide, runs up with the Trump tweet, and Bernie reads it out. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the organic crowd reaction at this Bernie Sanders rally. Let's take a listen.
We just bombed Iran.
Oh, I'm scared.
Oh, that just gave me the chills.
I'm scared.
All right, let me conclude.
Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God.
This is a statement from Donald Trump. Quote,
Oh, dear God.
we have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, etc.
And they go on to chant, "No more war." Bernie put out a statement, and listen, guys, this is the way to do it. The headline of the statement is "No war with Iran," not "They didn't give me a briefing." And he concludes by saying, "The American people were lied to about Vietnam with tragic consequences. American people were lied to about Iraq with tragic consequences. The American people are being lied to again today. We cannot allow history to repeat itself. The U.S. faces enormous problems here at home, which we must address. We cannot allow ourselves to be dragged into another Middle East war based on lies." Yep. How hard is that to say, Saagar?
Yeah.
How hard is that?
It's not apparently very difficult, but it does show show you, Democratic leadership is a joke. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer.
They need to resign.
As Ro Khanna has
Pathetic.
now demonstrated. But that crowd reaction shows you, look, the opportunity is there for the taking if you want it. If you want it. So, look, we'll give some credit also where it's due. Senator Tim Kaine spoke out against this very forcefully. Let's take a listen.
Well, the vice president was on another network earlier this morning and said, we are not at war with Iran. We are at war with Iran's nuclear program. There seems to be a lot of legal parsing on the definition of the word war here. What do you make of that description?
I think it's BS, and I think anybody hearing it would conclude the same thing. When you're bombing another nation, ask them if they think it's war. They do. Would we think it was war if Iran bombed a U.S. nuclear facility? Of course we would. And the U.S., we've invaded two neighbors of Iran, Afghanistan and Iraq, to topple their regimes since 2000. Those were wars. Mm-hmm. This is the U.S. jumping into a war of choice at Donald Trump's urging, without any compelling national security interest for the United States to act in this way, particularly without a debate and vote in Congress. We should not be sending troops and risking troops' lives in an offensive war without a debate in Congress.
So he says, offensive war of choice, makes the Iraq war comparison. He was the first person in the Senate to jump out with a war powers resolution. Yes. By the way, let's put the last piece up on the screen here, the war powers resolution, where we are with the numbers. So you've got 60 members of Congress, which is pathetic. There should be so many more. Maybe more have signed on today, who have signed on to the effort led by Massey, but he's the only Republican who has joined this effort, either in the House or the Senate. So you got 59 Democrats, 1 Republican. After the attack, this was actually, I was happy to see this. Chuck Schumer announced support for the War Powers Act, is urging all senators to vote for it. So that's something at least. But, it's utterly pathetic. There's 1 Republican on this thing after all the we're anti-war, blah, blah, blah. But, to focus in on the Democrats here, Saagar, there is also some scheming afoot as well, because there's an alternative war powers resolution that's being offered by several AIPAC-aligned Democratic members right now that, I'm sure is meant to somehow weaken and screw with and undercut this effort that is going forward, which, again, important to have this vote. It's important to know where everybody stands and to get those votes on the record, because everyone who votes for this war needs to be primaried and turfed out of office. So we need to have hard and fast, where were you at this point in time and what did you have to say? But the message needs to be no war. That's it. Not you didn't brief me, not you didn't take the vote, not you didn't follow the rules. No war with Iran. This is an offensive war of choice. It is an illegal war. There was no national security interest here. That is the message, and we are being lied into war once again, just like we were back in Iraq. It's history repeating itself. That's what these people need to say, and the fact that there are so few of them who can just be cynical, just see the political opening here. There's already been, by the way, 12 anti-war protests in cities across the country, and this thing is just getting kicked off. So the base is with you. Independents are with you. There is a massive political opening here that they just can't seem to be able to seize on.
Yeah, especially, I wouldn't bet, I'm not saying Zoran didn't do a lot of work, but I wouldn't bet against the strikes having at least some impact on some of his latest polling. If he does win, at least at a narrative level, you should look at that. I mean,
agree.
There's a lot of young people, right, who would be furious. I actually know some of my friends who live in New York who are like, that's it, I'm voting for Zoran, because they're specifically just pissed off about how Cuomo and everybody else is so aligned with the Israeli war machine. So yeah take advantage. All right, but listen, they never learn. They never will. Or maybe they will. I don't know. We'll continue to track it here on the show. We do have John Mearsheimer standing by. Professor John Mearsheimer, let's get to it. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show. Help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.